welcome to Our Frame Games. My name is Chris, and you may notice something, and that is I am recording after the fact. After the last episode, which was a couple days ago, mind you, I noticed something. Each game has their own style, as everybody who plays games knows. Certain games have a rhythm to it. And while I do enjoy doing live commentary, games like Moonlighter, which have their back and forth mechanics being their whole, emphasis, kind of makes it more beneficial to talk after the fact. Because in the intermedium, there is really nothing interesting going on. The world is interesting. The style is interesting. The game, individually, the parts, they're a bit redundant. Nothing bad about that, but, as an individual talking during as I'm doing a thing, I can only say, oh look, someone's trying to steal shit again, because they always try to steal shit again. Outside of the calculating of the individual price and like, oh hey, why should this be? There's nothing much. But there is a bit of a housekeeping that we do have to mention. If you have noticed, there has been a slight delay in the Moonlighter episodes. I've been working on a few things and working, and then working. Let's just say that I haven't had a day off in like 2-3 weeks. But I'm recording, I'm still doing my stuff, and I've decided to do something a little bit different with the remainder of this game. Now, I'm going to break it down into dungeons. So there won't be much more episodes, but they'll be more concise. As we continue to do this, which means certain games, like another game that will be uploading today or the next day or something, I don't know exactly when I do these things, we'll be starting to see more and more games, less emphasis on blind playthroughs. I do enjoy blind playthroughs, but only when the freneticism kind of works. Much like, Wizard of Legend, something is actively pursuing me as opposed to a fucking mimic. There's always a fucking mimic. Anyways, so the funny thing about the, as I continue to digress, the funny thing about this game, Moonlighter, and the dungeon itself, fire is the... I thought poison was bad. I honestly thought poison was bad, and I really hate it. But I've been noticing something that I've been regretful to neglect. It's damage over time effects. The damage over time effects of both the poison, bad, fire, really bad, and my it's coming to a point where my little glove fists aren't really actually working too well because I have to get right on top of them. And because I have to get right on top of them, more often than not they have a little fire shield. Will I have to change it? Maybe. I don't want to, so I probably won't. But, now, with this part, we actually do get a small semblance of what is the next area. And I actually love this area. I love these little monsters, the little electrical grid thingies. It's just a bit of technology in something else that's going on that we don't quite understand. Now, we've had the element of, I guess, old school golems. I don't know, slime and golems. That wasn't really like a theme. Whatever. The theme itself was just golems. It was just monsters, and I guess clay would be the motif with that one. And then we had a forest, which makes perfect sense. And then we had a desert, which, fire, metal, and whatnot. And then we have technology. This would be the 4th dungeon. But it's interesting. As the story progresses, we stumble upon little notes that say, hey, the dungeon itself was designed to provide for the residents of this town, or just everybody, but really the residents of the town. But the gatekeepers, the dungeon, the bosses, the whatever the fuck you want to call them, they've actually kind of been stopping us. We get to the point, it's like, who put these bosses here? Why do they want to stop us? And also, fuck you, I just want to find a small little piece of technology and a small little piece of cloth to make my bow and arrow just a little bit stronger so I can come and shoot a giant golem in the face. That's all I want to do. That's all I want to do. But no. No. They just want to kill me. So with the story as it is, you know, we're left to wonder what is up with the bosses. 2, what's going to happen once we open up the 5th gate? And I obviously by now, tons of people have opened up the 5th gate. I tend to run a little slower because shut up. Just we're not gonna talk about that. So I do tend to run a little slower, but I'm gonna be working on that in the future. Again, I don't get paid for any of this, and I probably won't get paid for this for a while. I never expected myself to actually gain a anywhere close to amount of followers. It was just something to work on as I wish to, indulge in my just something a little fun. And that's why I'm here, to have fun. Also to make fun of, to enjoy games. Because I actually go through a crap ton of media. But with the video games, it's fairly difficult. In order to gain knowledge on said media, and video games are a media, whether you believe me or not. If you watch a movie, 2 hours, 2.5 hours tops, and you're like, okay, I know everything I need to know about this movie because I have seen everything I need to know about this movie. I've seen the entirety of it. Maybe add another hour, you can watch the director's cut. Now you know a little bit more about the making of the movie. But it's not about the movie, it's about the style of the movie. You get a book. I may not be the fastest reader, and I may not read as much as I want, but I can still go through a Harry Potter book in like 2-3 days, without it really affecting the rest of my life. So that's good. But you get a game like this, and in order to fill in the gaps of knowledge with the story, the gameplay, and just have like everything you need to know, you got at least a couple days, maybe even you got at least a couple weeks, maybe even like months to get that, which is kind of one of the reasons why I haven't played too many RPGs. It's like, I love games, I love stories, RPGs, perfect fit. Time? Don't got it. Especially when I'm doing what I do with blind playthroughs. I'm gonna be completely honest. Most RPGs, early game shucks. Alright? I don't need to spend 5 hours, meeting 3 people and getting off the first island area, whatever. So, as with this new format, I will be able to kind of go through them quickly, and really I can just talk whatever the fuck I want, and just play at better abilities, and, get through them faster. But with Moonlighter, we have a little bit of a, how do I put this? There's a dichotomy between the story, what you're doing, and almost to a degree, you have the question: is what we're doing good? And by doing that, I mean like killing the bosses and like whatever. Yes, no matter when I record, no matter how I record. Who's that fucking car out there? Is what we're doing actually good for, I guess, the rest of the world? And by the world, I mean my small little town, which is gonna be badass by the time we're done with this. But as it stands, we don't know. I mean, the bosses are in my way, and I'm curious if I could even go back and fight the bosses. I kinda have to go try that now, don't I? I guess another fault with the game, and not really a fault, more of a, an addendum to the actual game, is that I have never found a reason to go back to a dungeon after I have beat said dungeon. I could get more stuff, but the bare minimum stuff in the new dungeon outsells for the high-end stuff on the low-tier dungeon. So I'd be filling I could fill my, store with sticks and, leaves Or I could just like repeatedly go into the, you know, this dungeon and get like a circuit breaker or a piece of stone or magnetic core. That gives me more money than anything. So I guess if there was any slight change that I would have to do that, is that I would need a reason to go back to said dungeons after the fact. I mean, but you know, it's not necessary, but it feels like because there's so much care with the creation of the world, it feels that the dungeon itself is static and almost non-existent after you beat it. So I have never gone back to the first dungeon and punched a golem in the face. It would be fun, but I have not. Maybe I should. I don't see a reason to. The only thing I can think of would be to maybe fill out my bag to get the prices perfect, but even then it's like, why? Like, I might do it as an extra for the channel, as an episode to say, hey, you want to know the prices of these things? Here you go. Price. There you go. Save you a whole bunch of time, make you the most money, do what you need. I said that, I'm now gonna have to do it, aren't I? Anyways, I digress. But what we're at is like, the interesting, the enemies designs, you know, just fun. World, amazing, blah, 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 blah. And as fun as the dungeons are, I have no reason to go back to them, and it actually saddens me. It's the one downfall that I can find with the game. Like, you know, you could say that kind of happens with other games, like even Wizard of Legends, like, oh, you know, after a while, the first few dungeons are, you know, kind of slow, kind of lame, and honestly, I actually might start cutting out the first few dungeons in the, you know, the blind playthrough, just because knowing they're hitting like 45 minutes when I'm getting to the end, but I mean, like, you know, I respect your time. I don't think I'm that funny, that interesting, for you to always want to watch me like an hour a day. It'd be amazing if you did. And trust me, if you do, leave a comment down below saying, hey, you're actually doing something people like. So, you know, keep at it. Aside from that, I mean, you know, do what I do, try not to die. Well, die from exhaustion, that is. If I'm gonna die, it's gonna be glorious. Or really bad. I'm really sad. I don't know. Anyways. Yeah, so as you can see, we're reaching the end of this episode, and the only thing I can really say is that we fought the boss on the last episode, and we fought the boss on the last episode, and I did mention again that we're gonna be changing things just around just a tad bit. Really nothing much. There'll be a handful more episodes of this, and I'm just gonna cut out most of this, you know, back and forth. These videos actually might become even shorter. Only because, as I mentioned earlier, since the goal is so standalone, the interesting thing are the bosses. The back and forth and the day-to-day, you know, not so much. Still love the game, definitely say you should play it, but, you know, watching me play it might not be for everybody. And there are other games out there, such as a few games that I picked up, and, well, anyways, hope you enjoyed the game, hope you enjoy your day, hope you enjoy your night, blah, 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 blah. See you later.